What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Wingin' It podcast special. I got with me Mr. Action Jack. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just busy. How about yourself?
I am good, and I really wish Sony would have helped me out. Would have worked with a brother this week, but okay. That being said, we got the presentation. Now, for those of you that don't know, E3 would have been this week. So
hmm
I'm guessing what we got from Sony is what their stage conference would have been. That's what
Right.
I'm guessing.
Right.
We did get a look at the PS5, and that's what we're going to start off with before we go into. It was mostly games. It was over an hour, about an hour 15 minutes. It was mostly games, but we're going to start off with the console. The console reveal was at the end of the
hmm
presentation. I will say this: I like the fact that they had two SKUs.
Right.
One straight digital, one physical. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why they got these physical BS. You know good and well these games gonna be over 100 gigs. Why in the world am I gonna buy a physical when I know the game ain't on the disc? Half the game gonna be on the disc, or
You
a
get.
quarter of the game is gonna be on the disc.
You got to ease people in.
I,
Got to ease them in.
I am not. If it were me, if I being the kind of consumer I am, and I'm looking at both of these SKUs, and I know that most Blu-rays, even if it's a dual layer Blu-ray, it's only going to be about 50 to 60 gigs.
Right.
If I'm going to get Destiny with all them damn expansions they talking about doing, you know
Right.
that game's going to be like over about 150 gigs.
Right.
There's no reason in me buying the freaking disc. What am I buying the disc for? It's just
Yep.
taking up space. So
Yep.
I get that some people are like, oh no, I want to collect it because when they turn on the service, I'll still have my game and you won't be able to play that game. I'm telling you right now,
Right.
you're not gonna be able to play that game.
Yep. Because Microsoft, in a way, tried to ease us into it this
Yeah.
past generation, but everybody got upset. And yeah, so I mean, they got at Microsoft about the whole DRM thing, which we do on PC anyway. And
Anyway,
Microsoft was just trying to ease y'all into it, but it's coming sooner than you think.
because especially with everybody want to do 4K 60 frames a second, you know how big some of them 4K if you mad about 1080 being 32 gigs Call
Yep.
of Duty, what you think
hmm
4K finna be?
Monstrous. At I don't even record at 4K. I made a mistake the other day. I was recording my kids riding their bikes. I had my phone on 4K by accident. Came home to edit the video, too big to send to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut it from 20 minutes to 7, and it was still too damn big.
Yeah, because I tell people all the time, I have this phone right here is a Pixel 4. I
Yep.
had to turn it off because it came with 4K already. You had to go in and turn it from 4K to 1080.
Right.
If you don't, your phone will burn and that battery will drain.
Yep.
That's why I'm like, if you think 4K is just something, oh, we'll be able to still get games, it's only gonna be 20 gigs.
Not at all, my friend.
There's only one team I know that knows how to compress games right, and that's EA. That's Nintendo's EAD team.
Yep.
Now
hmm
they will take a 30 gig game and make it 5 gigs, and you're like, how in the hell? But nobody else seems to be able to do that. So that's one of the things that I'm liking that they did. They just went on and got it on out the way. Look, it's
right.
gonna be two SKUs. You're gonna have one for your physical for y'all that claim y'all got to have it, and
hmm
it's gonna be one for straight digital. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did see the memes. It does look like a router. It does look
It
like
does.
a router.
A router in a what? A router in a refrigerator? Pretty
Yeah,
much. I mean,
it looks like a Linksys router. Like you go to,
yes.
I'm like, mm,
So now, when you first saw it, did you like it or was it
I thought it was
iffy?
fine. I thought it was
Okay.
fine. I thought it was fine. It's one of those situations like from a space standpoint, minimal is better to me
Right.
from a space point. So I'm like, yeah, I can have that. I already see a spot on my entertainment center where I can put it.
Right.
So
hmm
that does not bother me. But yes, it does. I'm gonna have to make sure I keep it away from my actual router because it does look exactly like my router.
Just like it. Now, when I saw it the first time, of course, everything was like a quick shot. You didn't really get a good look at everything. But when they did the pictures after the fact, I like the digital version better because that disk drive is protruding out the
But
side of it and it looks horrible.
yeah, yeah. The digital one is sleeker.
hmm
It fits better. Now the one they both go like this, but the physical one goes out.
Yeah,
It
I
has
don't
to.
like that.
So
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, but then again, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, okay, if I'm being smart, because like with my Xbox, yes, it has a disc drive. I do not have all my games on my Xbox is digital. I do
right,
not. I didn't see the point
right.
after I figured out that if they're not gonna be, if the disc is nothing more than a key, why am
Mm-hmm.
I buying a disc? And like that's
Right.
wasted. I might as well just download it, and that's what I've been doing. So I'm already on that as far
Mm-hmm.
as that's concerned. With my Switch, I do half and half,
Right.
depending on the game it is.
Right.
But I because we're moving toward that way anyway. I mean, as a technology is growing, we're moving toward that way. I know people don't like that, but the facts
I
is
mean,
facts.
it is what it is. I mean, they put a lot of money between R&D and actually making these games, and a lot of time. And most of these games may get maybe a couple of months of playtime, and they start dying down. So you'll have like your late bloomers that catch it on sale, or at least wait for it to go on sale, and they'll pick it up then. But you're not really making a profit off of that. So
Mm-mm.
I mean, when you look at this from a digital standpoint, you got it. You stuck with it full price. I put it on sale when I put it on sale, and it's not up to the stores no more. Or the whole used game situation. That's another
Oh,
big problem. So I
yeah.
mean, it's the route. I mean, because even with my Switch, when I got the Animal Crossing version, I just end up going all digital. I don't own a single physical game, even though I've been team physical through and through. It was just easier for me to just go digital. And I do the same thing with my Xbox. I got like one game, and that was Borderlands 3, and that's because it came with it. But other than that, I'm all digital as well.
Yeah, well, I completely understand. It's just it's one of those situations. I understand both sides of the argument. I
Hmm.
understand why people want their physical, but this ain't the seventh gen.
Right.
These games are just too big, man, and they're not putting it unless they're gonna do a proprietary disc. And I'm telling you, if they do proprietary disc, you will be
Oof.
paying more. You will be
Think
paying more.
think about the Vita. That's all you
Yeah.
got to do. Think about the Vita.
Oh, you want Destiny on disc, and you want proprietary? Oh, you gonna pay $90
Right.
because if we got to make 100 gig disc, you gonna pay for the extra.
Yeah. So if you think about it, it doesn't make sense because nine
Yeah.
times out of ten, the game comes with a day one update anyway. That's probably the same size, if not bigger than the game. So I don't know. It's best to go digital. I hate it because I am physical, and the fact that you can sell it or do whatever else with it. If they go the Steam route to where you can do refunds, and I think Steam or either someone else does a trade-in service with digital games as well. I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out once when they go full on digital. But until that comes, I mean, we got it like we got it.
Yeah. At this point. So, all right. So that's at the end of the show. So if you want to see what it actually looks like, just fast forward to like an hour, 10 minutes, and that's the last 5 minutes.
Right?
They showed a lot of games,
Yeah.
and I'm actually happy that they brought a couple of them back, like Ratchet and Clank, which
Yes.
I don't understand why they stopped making Ratchet. I don't understand why Sony got away from some of the good uh platforms. Like even though they look kitty, some of the because Ratchet and Clank was good. Jack and Daxter was my that was my jam.
Right.
Sly Cooper.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you had your mascots.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
had Spyro.
But they had to go the adult route.
Yeah, and that I'm like, dude, that kills you because I'm gonna tell you right now, most adults look at Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Kids are not playing. Kids are not playing Animal Crossing.
Yep.
Grown folks is playing Animal Crossing.
Yep.
You'll see husbands and wives sitting in their bed instead of reading a book, they both playing Animal Crossing on their Switch.
That is correct.
I'm
Yep.
like, what
It
the?
appeals to everybody. Like I
Yeah,
said, not everybody wants to go shoot this or
yeah.
doom and gloom that. Is sometimes you just want to do something that just looks good and have fun with it.
And you're being, tortured by a mafia infused raccoon. So,
Right.
but I mean, I'm glad that they showed that. That was one of my favorite games from the actual presentation. Just
Right.
seeing Ratchet and Clank back. Now, once again, we had some of the developers of these games come out and be like, "Hey," they do a little spiel about it. I really wish they would stop talking about ray tracing.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
getting ridiculous.
dude, please stop. It looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks good. That's all you need to say. Because
People are gonna buy it. You don't have to add that in there.
you don't have to add. Nobody cares. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Nobody cares because the people that are gonna buy the game, they're not that. technical with it, and they don't care what ray tracing really means. They just want to they want to see how the game look. So
Especially if you're talking about a fast-paced game, I'm not paying attention to what's
no,
reflecting off of what is. I mean, yeah, you look at games like Minecraft because you're gonna take your time and look at stuff like that. But I mean, if I'm in a fast-paced game like Call of Duty or Ratchet and Clank, to where you see numerous
so
of
much stuff
enemies
happen.
and
Yeah.
everything going on, I'm not paying attention to that.
Like nobody cares. I gotta
Mm,
get to my objective. So
right.
yeah, it's that. Another one that caught my eye, and this one caught my eye because I like different kind of art styles. That Goodbye Volcano High, I will probably never
Yes.
play that, but
Yep.
it looks interesting. But it also looks like it's one of those indie titles that's probably going to be
Hmm.
on everything. But it does look interesting. I hope it's not one of those depression games. I can't stand games that are depressing. I can't
It's
stand.
it's probably gonna be like that because it reminded me of After Party. Because
Yeah,
I just finished After Party not too long ago, and it's one of those games you make a decision, you may do a little bit of movement here and there, but honestly, you're not doing too much other than just kind of forming the story and following different paths and things like that. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's cool though.
Yeah, it looks good, and like I said, I love different types of art styles and stuff. So that just like caught my eye.
Right.
Now, okay, so y'all know I am a fan of the Marvel universe because I am a comic book head.
Yeah.
I will say this on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, the Dark Order, Miles Morales is off the chain.
Yeah, you're the best
Miles
one. Yeah.
Miles Morales is the best out of the Spider people. Yes, Miles is better than Peter, especially when you get him all the way hooked up.
Yeah.
He's way better than Peter.
Yep.
So now, cool things about this is they did show a Miles Morales Spider-Man game. Now, this is not Spider-Man 2. Keep
Right.
that in mind.
Right.
So I want to say probably like last summer or last fall, there was a lot of rumors coming out that they was doing a Miles Morales expansion to the Spider-Man game.
Hmm.
And because he's in Spider-Man, in the Sony PS4 Spider-Man, he's in there, but he's not Spider-Man.
Right.
So there was a lot of hints and a lot of Easter eggs to it. And I kept reading rumors about them actually doing that, and that was going to be like an extra expansion. I guess they asked that, and they're like, "No, we're going to make that a whole game," kind of like with what what's called did for Breath of the Wild. Like instead of
Yeah.
make that extra expansion, they're like, screw it's too much. Let's just make it a whole game.
Yep.
So that's what from what I understand, that's what they did with this. We only got like a 45 seconds, but that was enough to, you know, sell me on it.
Yeah, because
So
I mean, if you play Spider-Man, I mean, you got the gist of it. It's just now you're gonna plug Miles in there with his powers and things like that, which I'm interested to see how they work his powers into the game.
and I'm also interested in who they're going to use as the bad guy because
True.
I did read another thing that like they're going to try to use the symbiotes. So I'm wondering if is this how they're going to introduce the different venoms, the different symbiotes because in Spider-Man 2 is supposed to be Maximum Carnage, a playoff
Yeah.
Maximum Carnage. At least that's the rumor. It's supposed to be like a playoff the Maximum Carnage storyline, except this time they're going to put in Miles where because they don't have the entire MCU to use, they have to
Yeah.
use the spider guys. Because if you know anything about the Maximum Carnage storyline, just a quick over. It took pretty much the Avengers and some of the X-Men helping out Spidey to contain what Carnage did.
Right.
Now it came down at the end of the event. It came down to Peter Parker, Eddie Brock, and Cletus. That's what it came down to. It was basically a 2-on-1 fight.
Okay.
But the whole of the arc of the actual event the Avengers had to help. Some of the X-Men had to help because Carnage was trying to take out all of New York. So
Right.
it was one of those situations. So I'm guessing if what I think is right, and if they are going that route, I wonder if that's how they're going to start the seeds for the actual Spider-Man 2. So I
Hmm.
think that may be coming to PS5, but also to PS4. I just got a
Yeah.
feeling it's going to be PS4.
Yeah.
They just didn't say that. Now, all of these games are supposedly they're shown running on PS5. I don't believe that, but I mean, because like it's a lot of games, but I
Yeah.
don't believe it. I believe we're getting some of those what is the Ubisoft with that? Oh yeah, it's running on this when really was running on a PC.
Yeah. Or we could have had the same situation to where kind of like Microsoft did it, but they were upfront about it. Hey, look,
Yeah,
yeah, these are Xbox One games just running on the new Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
So they said that all this stuff was running on PS5 systems, but like you said, majority of these games probably still gonna be on PS4.
Yeah.
Especially the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. It's probably gonna be on PS4.
You're gonna try to maximize as much money as you can.
Oh
You're
yeah,
not going to sit because everybody know it's a pandemic going on. Everybody know that
right.
even if best case scenario, if there isn't a huge second wave like they're predicting, if people start going back to work, they ain't gonna have time. A lot of people ain't gonna be buying no new system. They're gonna be
Nah,
like, "No, I got to get these bills caught up. You will be all right. Sit down, play what you got." That's
yep,
what a lot of parents are gonna be saying. They're not gonna be
exactly.
they're not gonna care so about getting nothing new right now.
Right.
So a lot of these games are going to be coming out. You may have to digitally download maybe,
Hmm.
but I think a lot of them is just going to be doing that. Now as far as like, because there was another the Sackboy game
Oh
for Little
yeah,
Big Planet.
I can't wait to play that.
Now see, this is what I was like. Why didn't they think? I'm like when you see like games like because I like Little Big Planet, but I was
Hmm.
like, why didn't they just give him his own game?
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, because didn't he have something? Or am I thinking about something else on the PSP or the Vita? I'm sorry.
I think it was
Or
on the
was
Vita, but it wasn't
yeah,
like. I think it was kind of like an offshoot of Little Big Planet. It wasn't like
yeah,
his own thing.
right. Yeah, because they kept
Yeah,
trying to like Mario him out, like they were
yeah,
giving him kart racers and all this other
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, yeah, I don't know,
That's all. Like
but
you got to set up his own stuff first, then do all that.
right. Yeah,
Like
because honestly, Little Big Planet wasn't. I mean, it was a game. I mean, you
yeah,
had stuff in it, but it was more of like a creator in a way. But looking at this, looking at it being a platformer, and at first I was like, okay, cool. Then I saw that the co-op came in. Then I saw two more players come in. I said, okay, 4-player gameplay. I feel like this is more or less of a shot at 3D World. But it all depends on how Sony handles the levels and the platforming because Mario is top tier still to this day. So
you're not
Sackboy
taking
can
the
get.
crown from Mario. You're not taking the
You're
crown
not
from
happening.
Mario.
It's not happening. But
Yeah,
try to get close.
yeah,
Get close to good platforming.
yeah. Because like I said, once again, Sony don't have nothing like that. So you put that
No.
you do something just in the orbit or something like that, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna make some money. You're gonna make
Yep.
some money because people gonna be like, oh, well, yeah, this ain't Super Mario Odyssey, but
Right.
it's fun. It's still fun.
Right.
Yeah. So I
That's
mean,
the main
as
point.
long as it's fun, I don't think people have a problem with it, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yep.
Uh, well, got to talk about Gran Turismo because yeah, it was on there. So yeah, Gran Turismo 7.
I mean, I know people that like simulation racers for
Yeah,
things outside of basketball and football. I like the arcade style.
yeah.
So when it comes down to racers, I'm more of your Horizons type guy or your Need for Speeds and things like that. I'm not into like really tweaking and doing all that stuff to my car, but I mean, it's a beautiful game.
I mean, I think that's my main problem with it because like I am not trying to be like I'm playing a video game. I don't own
Hmm.
that car for real. I'm not trying to actually have to go in virtually and do. No,
I'm working my own
no.
car, but I'm working on this one
Yeah,
for.
why am I working on? Like, now I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad they showed that fire Aston Martin. But here's the problem: when I see an Aston Martin, I think James Bond. And if I don't have missile launchers and oil slick compressors in there, I don't want to see that car. That's why I could never have money because I would go out and buy me an Aston Martin, and
Right.
I'd be like, "Where's all the weapons?" That's the first thing gonna come out my mouth.
Like, sir, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, man, y'all know y'all done seen these James Bond movies. Where's the weapons? That's the first thing they're gonna be like. This dude is insane. So yeah, but like I said, it looks great.
Yeah.
If you're into simulation racing, Gran Turismo is not a bad uh game for like simulation for the simulation
Yeah.
people.
It's a pretty good
It's really,
game. Yeah.
it's just not my cup of tea because I need a blue shell. Because if you beat me, I'm stealing victory from you,
Man,
one
blue
way or
shells gonna
another.
steal everything.
Yeah,
Jeez.
one way or another.
Man,
So
that in itself will make you put down Mario Kart, especially
yeah,
playing online. Jesus.
I was winning. Yeah, yeah.
Right there at the end and just bam, and then somebody hit you with a red one, bam, then a green one, bam. I was like, shit, can I move? Like,
you went from first to eighth in the span of 2 seconds.
Mario Kart is insane. I'm curious if, even though that's going on Nintendo side, I'm curious what they're gonna do with Mario Kart 9 if that's what they call it. But that's another subject.
Yeah, it's just gonna be insane.
Right.
But I looked at it, I'm like, okay, you know what? I like that. And I even like that little I can't remember the name of it, but it was kind of like that take on Twisted Metal.
I got it right here, is called Demolition All Stars.
Yeah, Demolition All Stars.
Yeah.
That looked all right. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what they go, because I got Rocket League vibes from it.
But even then, I didn't quite understand the concept. Like, I know it's Demolition Derby, but then I saw people outside of the vehicles.
That's what I was
and
like,
hopping on cars. So I was like, my thought process was like, okay, you destroy my car, I can still do things to you on foot, but I can probably die the moment you hit me, but I can hop on your car and destroy it somehow. They got to show more, because honestly, I couldn't grasp what in the world was going on outside of the demolition part.
That's one of those games they needed a developer dive right after it, because that trailer told you nothing.
Nothing at all.
Because, okay, yeah, you jump on the car, but there was one lady who put the mask on and a samurai sword jumped out the hood.
Right.
Like, jump on that.
Right. It's just a lot going on. And like I said, I think they mentioned that they were going to show more, but of course, I mean, throughout time, they're going to have to find time to either A, show that off, which I think it was part of that Holiday 2020 group.
Yeah, that's part of Holiday 2020.
So, I mean, seeing as one, they're bold enough to keep saying Holiday 2020. So somebody doing something. I don't know.
Okay, can I be honest about this Holiday 2020? Okay, so once again, pandemic. So you know what's going on. Most of these Sony and Microsoft's factories, most of the factories where they make their consoles are in China.
Right.
They had another spike once they started opening back up, so they closed them back again. So let's just say, just for optimism's sake, they open back up mid-July. They're not gonna get a lot of consoles out. My whole thing about this is, and I've been saying this since COVID hit, if I'm being smart, if I'm Sony or Microsoft, I'm just gonna move it to March. Why March? Because March is the start of the business fiscal year.
Right.
That gives me enough time to make my numbers look good.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we don't have a second and third wave of this.
Right.
And people can go back to work. By that time, they'll have hopefully some kind of stimulus or income tax come in, and people will be a little bit more willing to like buy our stuff, and we'll have a full-on set of games to go with it.
Right.
I do not understand this. Oh no, we're coming out this fall.
Hey,
40 million people in the U.S. ain't got no job, bro. So
yeah,
I would love to see you try to explain to them why they should get a console over getting their bills caught up.
Like I said, Microsoft did it the smart way. That was for me. Microsoft did it the smart way. A lot of people gave them crap about it, but Microsoft came up front and was like, "Hey, look, our exclusives will be probably about a year out." Which that's what typically happens anyway. They were just vocal about it. Yeah. So you don't have to rush and go get anything. We got an S and an X that you can go get. And
games to play across all of them.
Right. So, don't break your neck, but buy our games. So, I mean, they were smart about it, because, I mean, we all know software. Right. Software is where they make their money. Yeah. So Microsoft did it smart.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, and I'm probably gonna end this on this. Look, like I said, there are a lot of games on there, but overall, I'll tell you my overall later. But one of the things I did not like is Sony has not said gave us a definitive answer on this backward compatibility. They have not. I think they need to. I think they need to do that before whenever they decide they want to drop this, because if looking at it from a consumer standpoint, this ain't no hate or shade at Sony. This is not. But from a consumer standpoint, if I'm sitting up here looking, I'm like, okay, if I'm having to make a decision on which console I want to get, I'm probably going to be leaning toward Microsoft, because I can play this stuff across all their whole family.
Right.
And I know I can't upgrade right now, but as soon as I can, it's a free upgrade for all the games that I already purchased or have on Game Pass.
Correct. Yep.
Sony has not said anything about it. Matter of fact, it keeps going. You'll hear one thing from one side, then you'll hear something else from another side. You're like, okay, dude,
Mm-hmm.
what's the truth? And I was hoping they was gonna say something about that, but they didn't. And maybe they'll say something when they do their other. Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna have another presentation. I'm
Right.
hoping by that time they're gonna make some kind of statement because from what I understand of what I've read about these consoles from like industry insiders and stuff was it's
Mm.
not a big graphical leap. It's a
No.
performance leap.
Right.
So,
Which is cool.
which is
Mm.
fine
Yeah.
because we needed that. We're getting to the
Right.
point where like you can only push it so far visually anyway.
Right.
So you do need to give people what you promised them all them years ago, 60 frames, being standard because
Yep.
60 frames still ain't standard. And
Nope.
I be telling people all the time, like, dude, okay, so we got Ubisoft has Uno and those mini games where you actually
Right.
do board games. Do you really want that at 60 frames per second?
Yeah.
Thank you. So like every game don't need 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
So
It's case by case,
it's case
and
by
I mean,
case.
and that's what people have to understand because they want to look at the numbers when they get posted. It's like, why is it not 60? Like, but play the game, see if it even recommends it to be 60. Because I mean, it's the same reason when you look at film. There's a reason why they film at 29 to 30 frames per second.
And not
Because
48.
right, so it's one of those things to where if it works for the game, then it works for the game. I mean, not everything needs to be 60. Now, you look at something that's fast paced. Of course, I'm one at 60, but honestly, it's not for everything. People get caught up in numbers, and that is the biggest thing that I've seen. Whether we're talking about video games or anything in general, you can throw numbers at people, and they'll just eat it up.
Yeah. Because I mean, the perfect example, if you go and watch The Hobbit,
Hmm.
the first Hobbit movie, remember they showed that thing in 48 frames per second. It did not look right. It
Right,
did not look
right. I
right
remember that.
in that
Yeah.
theater. And when you in the theater on a 110-inch screen, it did not look right. But
No.
when you got home on your 50-inch, it was okay. It
Right.
still looked a little weird,
Right.
but it was okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like, okay, we just have to push it. Like, dude, this ain't gonna work.
Yep. And like I said, it's case by case situations. Because
Yeah.
before we move on, I remember the first time I saw like 120 hertz, 60 frame per second. I was actually in a Circuit City. They had one more open, and I walked into the store and I'm like, "What is this on this TV screen?" Like it looked too real,
Yeah.
and they had Harry Potter playing, and I'm like, "Why does this look like
Like that.
almost like real, too real?" I said, "I don't like that." And it was like the TV right next to it had it at 30. And the guy was like, "Oh, but you should get the newer TV." I was like, "No." I said, "That doesn't even look right." I said, I don't want to do that.
Like,
That's horrible."
some stuff I don't need. Like if I'm watching sports, I don't need to see they hair follicles. I don't. I don't need to see that.
2K.
Yeah, I don't.
Uh,
Oh yeah, and
a lot of people don't realize they did the same thing with LeBron when we moved to the Xbox One and the PS4,
I'm
showing them
like,
talking and smiling, and now you got Zion doing the same thing. And I was like, "Dude, okay, cool,
I like
looks great."
Zion. I like Zion, but
But hey, look, along with them graphical powers is gonna come VC power too.
I'm gonna need him to look. If he ain't dunking like he's supposed to, I'm gonna be mad. If John Morant ain't talking trash like he's supposed to, I'm gonna be mad. But
2K
other
ain't
than
doing
that,
all that.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't need to see their hair follicles and they sweat beads.
Right,
I don't need to see all that.
right.
I don't know. But so yeah, that kind of turned me off to that one when they were showing that one. I'm like,
Yep, because EA used to push. They pushed the same thing for the 360 when Live 06 came out. The
yep,
first thing you saw was Dwayne Wade with all this sweat
yeah. I'm
on
like,
him, hadn't played at all, and then you get
yeah.
the game and they're like sweating before the game starts. I'm like, why are they sweating? They haven't done nothing.
They ain't
It's a
even
bunch
done
of
one.
shiny basketball players.
They didn't even do shoot around. Why are they wet? So yeah, that's all. Like yeah, I don't need all that now. Okay, so overall, your overall thoughts about the presentation?
For me, the presentation was a bit too long. They honestly should have grouped a lot of that stuff together, especially if you wasn't going into details about the games. As far as from the game standpoint, just a quick rundown: Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, Sackboy, Demolition, All Stars. I like the Kenya Bridge of Spirits. It kind of remind me of like an advanced Pikmin type
Mhm.
ordeal. Um, Godfall still looks good, even though I'll probably get that on PC. And then yeah, and then Horizon, and that
Yeah.
was about it for me. But as far as the presentation, I mean, it's been something that people have been waiting for. You got a chance to see the system, the controller, the media controller, this HD camera, the
Mhm.
charging station. So they showed you quite a bit because they could have just showed you the controller and the system and left it alone. But if I do end up getting a PS5, which right now is coming second to Xbox One Series X, whenever or Xbox Series X, whenever I do decide to go get one, um, I mean, I'll probably get the digital version. It just doesn't the look because I got this thing about everything in my gaming room has to look good. Like I can't have something that looks that awful with that bulk. But
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
anything, if I don't get one, 9 times out of 10, like you said, it'll probably be a Series X because of the family of games. I'm already doing Game Pass. I already have controllers, so that's compatible. I mean, it's a no brainer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I agree. They should have montaged like 3 times during that thing. They just should have had like, at least 3 or 4 scissor reels.
right. Hmm.
Um, and I think also they probably could have done just letting people know which ones are indies. I have a pretty good idea which ones were indies,
Yeah. Hmm.
but it would probably would have been a little bit better. Yeah, it did run a little bit long. Because if you're just showing games, it shouldn't run that long.
Right.
Especially if you're not at E3 with a crowd behind you or in front of you.
It was the
You're not.
transitions. The
Yeah,
transitions would look like every time I saw a triangle, a circle, X, or a
yeah.
square, I was like, "Oh my gosh, come on!" Like,
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep this moving.
right,
So what I think they should have done, they should have had at least a couple sizzle reels because they weren't going into some of these games. Some of these games were not being talked about.
right,
Some of them were. Um, but they should have had some sizzle reels, and they could have cut off at least about a good 15-20 minutes. They could
right.
have.
Hmm.
Other than that, I thought the reveal was nice. I do like, even though yes, it does like a router. The jokes are gonna come. The jokes are gonna come. But I
Yeah,
think it's sleek. I think it works for what they. I think it's sleek and it works.
right,
Yeah. But like I said before, like I said earlier, if just for me looking at it now with what they've put out and what Microsoft's put out right now, if I was to lean, I would be leaning a little bit more toward the Series X and the Microsoft family just because I already got stuff that I know can work with it. I don't
correct,
have to do everything. And on top of that, it's played across the whole family. So I don't actually have to go get nothing right now.
right,
Like the way they're making it seem with Sony and not being upfront with everybody is it's making it seem like you better go get a PS5 because we ain't telling y'all if it's gonna work on PS4 or not.
right,
That's what they're
exactly,
doing, and I'm like,
right.
that's not smart in my
Not at
in
all.
not with what's going on now. If this pandemic never happened, I would be saying, hey man, y'all need to upgrade. But
Hmm.
this pandemic happened. You got 40 million people out of work. Eh,
Right,
work with your boy. You know.
right, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And then on top of that too, you got the diehards. Sony
Yeah.
fans says they're gonna find a way to buy. Now, one thing that we'll see later down the line, of course, is release dates and pricing. Now, one thing that I'm surprised that they didn't show at the end was the second VR headset because that's going to be another expense.
Mm-hmm.
So now there was one game in
It's
here. It
supposed to
was
be
like that.
integrated, ain't it?
Yeah, supposed to, and that's why I think with that HD camera was for because they showed that. But this Ghostwire Tokyo,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like it was a VR game. So I was like, okay, they're going to introduce VR, but it was a first-person horror action game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, this would have been perfect for VR, but they didn't say anything about it. So I'm assuming that's probably going to be way later down the line.
Yeah.
But honestly, between that pricing, the VR for people that really want to invest, and like you said, doesn't seem to be compatible with anything from PS4 other than maybe a few games from what we've heard. Yeah, that's a full investment. You're hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
You're starting over.
And I don't think that's gonna work. I just
Nah,
honestly don't think it's gonna work.
not at all.
But now they may come out and say well, it may not work physically, but if you do it digitally, it'll work. Now they may say
Yeah,
that. I don't know,
right.
but I mean, at this point, I do want to see what those prices gonna be looking like because, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what the price is gonna be look like, and I think it's smart that they didn't say their price because you know what Microsoft was gonna do. Because Microsoft's presentation is in July. If they would have
Yep.
had their price coming out today, I can promise you Microsoft's gonna undercut them by at least $50. At least.
Yep. And then not to mention, because I believe what the July presentation, and we may, if it's even there, Lockhart, because
Yeah.
I was interested to see the two SKUs here, like you said, but Microsoft only showed you the Series X. So I'm curious as into one, if Lockhart exists, and then two, if it's going to be a all digital, less powerful version of the Series X.
Uh, it should exist just because of the simple fact that once again, this is where we're at.
Right.
This is just where we're at. I mean, if
Hmm.
if everybody want to go to 4K, these game sizes ain't gonna make no sense.
Nope.
And it ain't gonna make sense to put it on a physical media. It's not gonna make sense.
Right.
So I think it is because I think Sony would have never showed theirs if Microsoft didn't have theirs. They copy each other all the time.
All the
So
time.
I'm pretty sure they have it. I just don't know how they gonna plan on the presentation of it because to me, Lockhart shouldn't be less powerful. It shouldn't.
Right.
But if you're trying to be like, okay, let's throw our customers a little bone here,
Hmm.
it'll be $50 cheaper, but it's not gonna have this, this, and this.
Right.
You
Hmm.
know, but I don't think it's gonna be like uh, a massive, downgrade or anything like
No,
that.
because I mean, you still got the Xbox One X, so you
Yeah,
can't get it below there. So I mean, it's got to be in between the two.
yeah,
So I
and
mean,
we're gonna find out in July. Because like I said, in July, though, if I'm gonna be completely honest, one of the only games I'm actually looking forward to is that damn Halo Infinite because I need to see how this story goes.
all right.
I need to see how the story goes
Yep.
from five. So that's what I'm looking forward to there. As far as the entirety of the Sony presentation, I just thought it was okay.
Yeah. I mean, well, I
And
wasn't even going into it excited. I really
yeah,
wasn't,
my,
because I
my
mean, I think,
expectations were low.
yeah, I wasn't going into it excited because they've been way too quiet this
Mhm.
entire time. Microsoft and Nintendo kind of have been just running with it at this
Yeah.
point. And the thing was, people were more concerned with Nintendo not giving their entire 2020 lineup, like any business does that. But giving their whole 2020 lineup, but then hadn't heard anything from Sony, and it was okay. But for me, I get it. You know, pandemic for one.
Yeah.
Two, you really kind of have to see what your competition doing, and Microsoft was really under wraps with a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just a surprise for everybody, and I liked what it was, and it wasn't too much. I mean, they didn't change much, and people were saying like, "Well, Microsoft's not changing their UI design. Why?
Why? Yeah. Why?
Why?" I mean, they change it damn near every 2 months anyway. So it's just so I
Yeah.
mean, if you want something different, they're gonna end up updating it anyway. Because I mean, it doesn't look like the same Xbox One UI design that it was in the beginning anyway. Because Connect was there.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like you said, I mean, it was okay. I mean, it didn't entice me to say, okay, I'm gonna get both the Series X and the PS5. I mean, I played Horizon. Horizon's cool, but not
Yeah.
enough for me to play the second one. Spider-Man was cool. I 100% at Spider-Man, but once again, like I said, I love Miles Morales. Like they have to show me more to entice me to do something
That
with that game.
that game needs its own treehouse like developer dive. That game
Yes.
needs it. That
Hmm.
game needs it because once again, there's a lot of people who's like, hey, look, man, we'll get Miles Morales, but you better
You gotta
not
show up.
give me no 30-hour game and talk about
Right.
yeah,
Right.
no. I'm gonna need a full on, just like you did for Peter. I need for him.
Right.
So yeah, I mean
So
yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with
I
that.
don't know because I mean, as of right now, too. I mean, think about Sony tends to shed off exclusives almost every generation. So I'm assuming Uncharted's done at this point. The Last of Us Part Two is going to be probably what cross platform, or
Yeah,
if
it
not,
probably will be.
PS4 over. So I mean, you're holding on to that. God of War, don't know exactly what you're going to do with it. Spider Man, you just got that from last year. Horizons second run. Ratchet Clank's back. So honestly, I don't know what cards they're holding as far as exclusives go. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're there, but if all of your exclusives are just over the shoulder, third person, shoot here, shoot there, that stuff get old after a while.
Yeah, they gotta get that variety going.
Yeah, they have to.
They just got to get some variety going.
Can't
And
count on. count on third party forever.
Nah, ask Stadia how that's working out.
Yeah,
So
to get that shot in.
man, look, and the truth shall set you free. So, yeah, I, because I've had those discussions with people about the difference between having a first party, a good, strong first party library, and third party support. And I've always told people you need a good balance. You can't
Right.
have simply third party. That's not gonna work
Right.
because there is no reason for me. Explain to me the reason why I need to buy your console.
Right.
There's a reason why I always get Nintendo. Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Smash Brothers.
Xenoblade now.
Xenoblade now, because
Yeah.
Xenoblade they ain't going nowhere. So
Nope.
that
I don't know.
those titles, and that's just the four. Now they can pull out whatever they want to at any point in time. They can pull out a Kid Icarus. They can pull out they can pull out anything at any point. But the thing is, they have my favorite titles. I can't go to PC and play that. I can't go to Sony and play that. That's why you keep hearing all these game journalists always talking about how wouldn't it be better if Metroid was on Xbox? No, it wouldn't, because it wouldn't play right. It wouldn't play
surely
right
wouldn't. It
because
wouldn't.
Nintendo makes their games for their console. So
Right.
that's why I'm like, look, Sony and Microsoft, y'all need to have a good core. There's nothing wrong with having third party, but you need to have a good core games that can't nobody go nowhere else and play.
Right. And that are not the same. It's like, how
Yeah.
do you have a lineup of first parties that all do the same thing, just with a
Thing.
different story and a different skin to it?
Yeah,
That's insane.
Yeah, the FPS genre pretty much killed it for me. I'm so burnt out on that and zombies. That's why I don't like. I know a lot of people look forward to Last of Us, but I'm like, I'm burnt out on stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm just burnt out. Like they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything that's like, oh, I got to play this. Like, no,
Right.
I don't.
It took off and everybody ran with it. It's a trend. It's one of those things that where people were upset about. Was it the daggone game from Kojima, Death Stranding?
Death Stranding, yeah.
That's what people were upset about. Like, if that got good reviews, people were going to start doing games like that and just be very lazy about it. But it was the same thing with first-person shooters, the whole zombie apocalypse thing. Everybody was doing zombie games. And it was even to a point to where, like, with Uncharted 3, it kind of pissed me off at the end to where they kind of went that route a little bit. And I was like, why are these skeletons with fire on their head? And I was like, what? I said, how did this even... I said, that killed the ending for me.
Yeah, because, like, this is supposed to be realistic Indiana Jones. This ain't supposed to be, like, not like that anyway, but, hey.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's what kills it for me in those situations. That's why I was so happy to see Ratchet and Clank back. I'm like, thank you. Now bring back Mark of the Creed, bring back Jack and Daxter, bring back some of those other stuff. Like, bring back some cool stuff. You know that you got in your library. You know, so that's where I'm at. I hope to see them do something a little bit more. I know they're probably gonna have something for August and September. I already know that. They just ain't said nothing yet. And we'll see. We'll go from there. But yeah, I just thought it was okay. I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think they could have done too much either, because at that, on the same note too, you can't kind of overshadow Ghost of Tsushima. So I mean, if you do that, then really ain't no point. And really doing marketing, because you're gonna overshadow it.
Yeah, and that's coming out in a couple weeks.
Should be. But they delay games so doggone much, I don't even know no more.
Yeah,
I don't even know what today is. So
but that does it for this Wingin' It special. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment. Let us know what game you're looking forward to. Are you going to be picking up? Was this presentation enough to say I'm getting this day one? And if you are, let me know what game you're getting. I mean, for me it ain't, but let me know what game you're getting. You know, just let me know what game you're getting. Because like I said, for me personally, I'm probably not picking up any of these new consoles till at least like 2022. I don't see any point. So at this point, I just don't see any point. So to me, that'd be like a colossal waste of money, because I don't know. I have an idea that these consoles are going to be a little bit on the expensive side, and I'm just not. I got other stuff to buy. That's the price of being an adult, man. So it is what it is. But let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. As always, Winging the Podcast will be up Sunday this week. So we do have a couple things we're trying to do for our 25th. episode. I just don't know if they're gonna work out now. So my plans kind of been shot down a little bit, but
I know what that's like.
knowing me, I'll think of something crazy. So just bear with me. And we'll see you guys Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, Wakanda forever. Peace out.
Peace.